Every single person, including you, has one of them in the back of their heads. For some, it's skydiving. For others, it's visiting Japan. But most often, bucket list items will only exist in the back of your head, shapeless, and delegated for someday in the future. For 99% of people, this day will never come. And then when you do create your bucket list, the inner critic comes in. It's too dumb, too responsible, too expensive. And then your item moves from a bucket list to never even to be attempted list. I say fuck that, because today you're joining me on a ride here in Cappadocia to cross off one of my bucket list items, hot air ballooning. In today's video, you're going to learn how the bucket lists work and how to design yours so that you maximizes your chances of success. Let's go. So the video for this trip in Turkey was going to be about bucket lists, and then again, I just gotten out of the car, got into a fight with my dad, and here we are, we need to figure out how to get to Cappadocia. But the funny thing is that I just remembered that one of my bucket list items is to hitchhike without money. And you know, it happens to be that we might as well cross one of those items off. Here we are in the middle of the road. Here's Sasha.
Hi, I'm Sasha.
How long do you think it's going to take until somebody picks you up?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
I'm beautiful. Now I will be like a girl on the road like this with my leg.
Okay, you will not believe what just happened. We hopped inside a full-on lorry. It's a big, massive ass truck, and this man over there, say hey. He is going to Cappadocia as well. So Cappadocia is about 450 kilometers from where we are. So we have this amazing, beautiful car.
Like I said, 10 minutes and we will be in the car.
I think it was 6 minutes.
6.
And we happen to be going to the same location, huh? And the view is even better. Look at this. Welcome to Lifestyle Engineering, the channel where we talk about how you can set up your environment to work for you. In this next section, you're going to learn how to create your very own bucket list. I created mine when I was 19 years old, and I took some of my best friends for a sunrise. We're just inspired and young and wanted to live life to the fullest, and we watched this TED Talk by Richardo Semler. I'm going to link to it down below.
So we've been to Samoa and Maldives and Mozambique, so that's done. I've climbed mountains in the Himalayas. I've gone down 60 meters to see hammerhead sharks. I've spent 59 days on the back of a camel from Chad to Timbuktu. I've gone to the magnetic North Pole on a dog sled. So we've been busy. And that's not, so it's what I would call today, what I like to call my empty bucket list.
We took a piece of paper and started writing down some of the most epic things we wanted to do before we die. But the caveat was that we wanted to do it right away. I want to tell you a story about Ben Nemtin. When Ben was in his very early 20s and when he was paying just $200 for rent, a broke college student, he wrote a crazy bucket list item. He wanted to play basketball with Barack Obama, the acting president of the United States. And after hustling for about a year and a half, he was actually able to make this happen. Here's a video. And when I was 20 years old, I was able to go kite surfing with one of the most prolific and famous entrepreneurs, Richard Branson. That was my dream come true. Yes! This email got me on Sir Richard Branson's personal island. And I want you to be absolutely shameless about making your bucket list wild. When I was writing down that item, I had no idea if it was even in vicinity of possibility. And oftentimes, audacious goals are a lot easier to achieve, and there will be people on the way open and willing to help you to make them possible. Creating your bucket list is not the most important thing. There's a difference between people who are going to live their dream and those who are just going to create their bucket list and move on to their day-to-day. And that difference is planning. Hence, the next section. It's really dark in here, and that's not because we're in the cave, but also because we're on the David Goggins. It's 5 a.m. Саша, у нас же в 5:25 будет. А чё мы здесь сидим?
It's like in a fairy tale.
creating a bucket list by itself is pretty useless unless you live it. In this section, I'm going to show you how I plan mine. Let's take a look. I keep all of my bucket list items here in Notion. I have 100 plus. Here we have hitchhiking a freight train in Sahara and hitchhiking with no money. This one will be crossed off, so I'm going to move it as done. That's pretty awesome. Visit the Oval Office, jump off a helicopter without a parachute, kite surfing. And as you can see, all of the items, they have 4 different variables. They have the priority, then they have the status, they have the cost, and then they have the cost in terms of time. So some of the items can be done within a few hours or within a few days, whereas others might take a few weeks of time or months of time to prepare. For example, here learning martial art, you cannot do it in a day, so the time period is 6 months. And based on that, I can pick the items that make the most sense for me in the moment. So here I have the ready items. The ready items are the ones that I have pre-selected. Those are the items that are more exciting to me at this specific point of time, and something that I'm pretty willing to do right now. It happens to be that right now I'm in the micro version of the Burning Man, so I'm kind of working towards that goal, but I still need to get my visa, so I can add a comment over here and say something like did a micro experiment in Portugal, Flamingo. All right, so this is the fest that I'm at, and the item itself might be a lot bigger and a lot harder to do, so you can do smaller steps in achieving the bigger bucket list item. And perhaps the most important part of living a bucket list lifestyle is planning. So some items over here, they're not that easy to achieve, or they might be a little bit vague. For example, let's take a look at break a world record. Here inside this page, I need to figure out what type of records I'm actually interested in. So I can start narrowing things down. I can say motorcycle, so something that has to do with a motorcycle, maybe kite surfing, maybe cold exposure. So you start brainstorming your ideas. We can even create a section, brainstorming ideas. Since I do not yet know what world record I want to break, I might want to Google for some things that people have done in the past for some inspiration and maybe have my own twist at it. Other items on my list will require quite a bit of preparation. For example, Forbes 30 under 30. It has certain requirements in order for me to get that award, so I might as well go and figure out what they are and write them down over here. From this point, I can plan specific actions that I can take in order for me to get a little bit closer to this goal. And probably one of the most underrated things is doing research online and figuring out how to actually do something that you want to do. You can do research online, you can call your friends who have done this before, or even reach out to strangers and people who might be world record holders, or you name it. It's a good excuse for you to make new relationships and just get excited about your bucket list item that makes life worth living. And personally, I take it a little bit further. So here I have my default view, and here in the default view I have my status backlog. Those are the items that I'm not ready to commit to. And then I have ready items, which you have seen. But the cool thing about this table is that we have all of the important variables over here. So we have the priority. How important is it for me to do this? You have to rate some things because you have too many items. So I'd rather do priority 1 first. And then some other items might be blocked by, I know, health, by circumstances, you name it, or maybe the time of the year is not right for whatever activity. So I have the blocker status, and you can write down when you're planning what that blocker can be. Difficulty, how difficult it is to do it. Cost, then we have time investment. Due date. Another super important thing to remember is that your bucket list is entirely yours. If you're no longer excited about any particular item, that's okay. For that, I have this canceled status, so I can take any of the activities and cancel them. For example, I no longer care about giving a TED Talk. I don't care about writing a Hyperloop or befriending Bill Gates, whatever it is. At the end of the day, you need to be as excited as possible about the things that you have on your bucket list. It has to be a fun thing that you look forward to. And if you lose interest, it's okay. It's better to have a hell yes bucket list than a I'm not really sure. It'll be cool to do it, but you know, it doesn't really feel anything. And likewise, you should be adding new items that feel exciting. And this is how I plan my bucket list here in Notion. You'll have a link to duplicate this template in the description below. Feel free to suggest how I can achieve some of those things, or propose any interesting ideas to make life a little bit more exciting in the comments. This is it. I'm super stoked for you to live your dream life and start crossing things off your bucket list. If you love this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that I can see you in the next video. Cheers.